Yo, guys. I think I'm live on YouTube. Let me check if everything works. Okay, yes, on YouTube.
Hello guys, this is Luigi from Venezuela.
So, I'm live also here. I'm live. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So, I'm gonna react to different Flare tutorials today. I saved some of them. If you have any recommendation of any specific Flare tutorial that you want me to react, let me know in the comments and I will react to more videos, okay? So I want to analyze a little bit and I want to see which tutorial is good, which tutorial is not that good, which tutorial is missing some information, which tutorial maybe has some informations that are not needed at all. Let me start. Now I'm going to start a little bit randomly with this tutorial from Red Bull BC1 from Lil G. It's pretty old, 7 years ago. I'm gonna react also to some famous YouTubers like Pygmy. I know this guy, by the way. He is very good, very friendly guy. Then Coach Sambo, Hironaga, that has maybe the most view Flare tutorial on YouTube, I think, has many million views. Sea Monster Strength, very strong guy. Then also one of my old tutorials that actually is not one of the best tutorials that I ever made. I think I recently, by recently I mean in the past few years, I made some Flare tutorials that are better than this one that I'm gonna react. But I choose this one with Falcro because it has a little bit of nostalgic factor. And it's a very long time that I don't see this tutorial, so I'm pretty curious to see it again after a long time. I can also react to my most recent Flare tutorials, but I'm gonna be a little bit biased because, of course, it's my tutorial, and in my opinion, I gave possibly the most useful information I can do. So probably it's not fair if I judge myself. I think I should judge mainly other people's tutorial. And yeah, maybe let me wait just a few minutes if someone else is gonna join. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I should start immediately. So even though you watch this live stream later when it's going to be already uploaded, you're not going to be bored. So let's start immediately. Let's do like this. Because at the moment I don't have many viewers in general. So if I wait too long, I think this live stream will be so boring if you're going to rewatch it later from just a replay. Let's see. Oh,
I will teach you Flare, passing move.
nice Flare. His technique, you can clearly see that he can do air chairs while he do flares. He used this kind of one arm bend, the right arm bend technique. Can you see his right arm here? It's bending this arm, kind of like leaning to an air chair a little bit. Oh, you can see it from here. Many people who are strong in air chairs, they do the flare like this. For me, I don't like it so much. I prefer very straight arms in the flare. Instead of this kind of form, a little bit similar to an air chair. But sometimes it's still nice. Some people do it with a very nice form in this way. One good example is Jonas Flex or Jonas Flex. I don't know how to pronounce his name. His flare is also like this, but it's a little bit higher and cleaner. Literally also have a good
Once
flare
you
actually.
start learning flare, so of course, warm up your hands. Second,
Warm up
you
your
have
hands.
to
Your
super
wrists, I think I mean.
be this position. When I start flare, also I start from here. It's important your hand. Sometimes many people put like that or like that, so it's important your hands be this direction.
Yeah, this is correct. The right hand, if you spin clockwise, should be facing sideways when you start flare. Many people, beginners, usually they start a flare with the hand facing forward or with the hand in a weird, a little bit position. The most natural position is hands facing sideways in a flare. You can also try maybe other angles with your hands, but it's not so practical. Sideways is the really most comfortable position. Wait, let me turn on the light. I don't know if something changes. Maybe it's just a little bit brighter. I don't know.
Like that. So this is
Actually, you can even start from your knee. This position that he used
this
here,
position.
one knee on the floor, it's also a good way to start the flare for beginners. You can start with your knee, or you can start
Like that.
in this position here that he's showing now. It's basically the same.
So when you keep
This position with on your feet is a little bit taller and allows you to get a little bit more momentum, which is good for a powerful flare. If you never did flares in your life before, it's also good to start on the knee. On the knee.
from here, these legs to your face, right? Same. I do it slow. So keep, go to your face,
Here he is showing very correctly. As you can see,
go to your face, and then you have to stay. So
wait,
keep,
he didn't say it, he didn't explain it very clearly, but he showed it very clearly. As you can see, his legs here are crossing. So the right leg is crossing behind the left leg. Many beginners, they try to cheat a little bit, and the right foot is going inside, is going here instead of going here like he's doing now. And this is the first very, very common mistake that I often see, not crossing the legs in the flare, in the start of the flare. And second very common mistake is this one here. He's doing it correctly, actually. He's lifting the left foot over the head level. As you can see, his left foot is higher than his head. Many people kick this left foot not so high, maybe at the same level as the head or even lower sometimes. They kick it kind of like here, which is too low because they think too much of doing the round very quickly and extending forward instead of really kicking up to the side. So these first two steps that he just showed now are very, very important. And many people don't do them correctly. So if you fix these very, very easy movements first, just the movement that you just did now,
slow. So keep,
one
go to
and
your face,
two,
and then
these
you
two
have to
movements should be very clear. And then, if you are comfortable with these two movements, then you can start sliding and you can start going forward with the flare. But many people, they don't know even these basic two steps.
stay here, and then really important you stay here. Don't go too fast to your hand. Here,
Mm.
same thing, everything.
Okay, here, in my opinion, he's explaining a little bit too fast. He's already explaining the hands movement, which of course is essential for the flare, but it comes a little later. At first, in my opinion, it's very good to understand how to slide forward. Maybe he is just explaining with the feet on the floor just to get an understanding on how to move the shoulders and the arms during the flare. Let me
Explain,
see.
explain slow. I do one slow, like
Oh, no, 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 no. He's already doing the flare, actually. He's explaining too fast. Okay, too fast explanation actually. Nobody can learn the flare so easily and just kicking and just moving the arms like that. You need to have a good understanding of the initial kick that he showed very correctly actually, but also of the slide forward and also of the front part of the flare and also how to switch the legs in the front part of the flare. Many people they stop in this part, so they are forward, and from here they don't know how to switch the legs and then going backward. He didn't explain this at all. He just keep all the steps and he just say how to move the arms. I don't know. Maybe for some people who are very talented, they can learn the flare like this. But for most of people, it doesn't work. You need to do it step by step, you know. This is the main issue with some very, very high level b-boys. Sometimes they are very talented, and being very good in one move doesn't necessarily mean that they can explain this move very correctly or properly step by step. Sometimes it's even the opposite way around. The people who struggle the most with one move are the people who can explain it better, because since they are not talented and since they need to struggle to learn this move, they they really need to learn the technique correctly and properly. So here, I don't know if he's just going too fast or if he learned the flare maybe too fast because he was too talented. I don't know, or I don't know. Maybe also his English at that year, because this video is very old. Now I think Lil G English is pretty good, but at that time I don't know. Maybe he knows how to explain in the Portuguese. I think it's his original language, but maybe in English he's a little bit struggling. I don't know. Oh, thank you, Jackson. Expert b-boy correcting to another expert b-boy. Actually, Lil G is much stronger than me. Let's see. But in flare, I would say
For me,
I'm
the
better.
first time,
I'm pretty good in flares.
many repetitions. I do for day maybe 50 when I start.
Oh,
Two
50 flares?
repetitions, 10 each. Then I rest.
For me, I never counted how many flares I did when I used to train. I never trained like kind of like a calisthenics or a workout training, doing like 10 sets of 10 repetitions or 5 sets or 7 repetitions. I never did something like this. I just did a lot of flares. Maybe in total, I still would do a lot of flares during a training, but I never counted how many. I didn't know if it was 100, 200, maybe 50 sometimes if I felt more tired. I don't know. But of course, I think it was I'm talking about the period where I trained flare the most, which was the start, kind of like the starting period of my breaking, maybe 2007, 2008. At that time, I was training the flare a lot. And I was also training the flare inside combos a lot. So it's pretty hard to count how many rounds they are doing. Maybe I was even training flare in combos more than flare itself. So I didn't focus too much on doing many, many rounds of flare, many sets, many rounds in total. But I focus mostly on doing many flares inside the combos. So doing, for example, one flare to one swipe to two flares to one windmill to three flares again, and then to other moves, but randomly without really counting, more like a freestyle depending on how I feel. I don't know, counting may also be good because you can track your progress more clearly if you count the repetitions. So I'm not against counting, actually. I'm pretty supportive to count the repetitions. But for some people, it may be boring, maybe. Maybe I would recommend counting the repetitions at the end of the training. So first, practice combos without counting too much. And then at the end of the training, when you want to get exhausted, then maybe finish yourself by doing 10 rounds for 5 sets. But be careful about the wrists, because if you're going to do many, many rounds of flare, your wrists are going to start feeling stressed. So you need to be careful. Don't overstress the wrists. Lil G speaks Spanish. Oh, Spanish, not Portuguese? Oh, 1v1, bro. Do flare and then a backflip. Mm.
Then 10 again.
I want to say, yeah, I'm not going to react to battles these days, also because in my previous live stream, all my previous live streams got demonetized because of the music of the battles, you know. So reacting to battles because I want to monetize also the live stream. Of course, I do it because I like it, but I also do it because I hope by being consistent I can earn something. So I want to monetize them. And in order to monetize them, I need to be careful which videos I react, which songs I react. I don't know. Let's see how it goes with the. And also, I don't want the video to be taken down. YouTube copyright strikes or issue, the video can not only be demonetized, but sometimes YouTube takes it down and also give a strike to the channel. So it's a little bit risky, you know. So that's why maybe tutorials will not have so many copyright issues, I hope. Let's move on and let's see that.
Okay. So it's really important because you have to take in your body how to move, how to swim,
You look like you haven't
when to
slept
breathe.
in months. Oh,
Because
oh my God.
if you
Actually, last night I slept well, but in the morning I woke up very, very early. I don't know why. Then I couldn't sleep again. So a little bit tired.
I go back, I do again. Like when you can see I keep, and then I stay in my hand, stay, and then I put my hand, and then again. So I go here, every time, and you stay.
Here, actually, when he's doing this flare, he's waiting a little bit too long on the left hand, on this hand here. So he's spinning. While a perfect flare would be always facing the same direction, you know? So now he's facing towards the camera. The second round should also face the camera. Now it's good. But here, as you can see, he start facing the right side. If you want to do like a perfect flare, you should always be facing the same direction. And in order to face the same direction, the key is the rhythm with the arms. The arms and the hands should always touch the same point on the floor. But here he's waiting a little bit too long on the left hand. So by waiting too long, his right hand is gonna lean a little bit inside and not in the same line, not like tan 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 all the time. But this hand is here and this hand is here, and then this hand will be here and this hand will be more inside. So he's gonna make a circle while doing the flare. It's not actually a mistake, but in my opinion, makes the flare a little bit less beautiful and less clean. Still good to
Every
see,
time
but
you
it
stay,
can be better in my opinion.
try to push the floor.
This is very good, very correct, very good tip to push the floor away with the shoulder. So the shoulders in the flare are never like this, like retracted, but you always need to push the shoulder. Yeah, you need to imagine that with your shoulders, you're pushing away the floor, you're pushing down the floor. In this way, your flare will be a little bit higher, and then it's going to be easier to lift your hips high in the flare. If you're not pushing the shoulders and the shoulders are like this or are even like this relaxed, the flare will be very low. So always pushing the shoulder down.
Don't be like that. Try to push.
Yeah, this
So
is
that is
very
more
good tip actually.
important. Supple. When you do this, you push shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. It's very similar to a planche. In the planche, you're supposed to do the same thing. And also in a straddle to handstand, you're supposed to do the same thing.
He stay. Also, handstand, you push. The basic move is important. Practice like from every basic move, like extend. From here, like windmill. From here, handstand. Go to flash. From here, and you will start to
This
understand.
is a very good advice that he just gave to practice flare from other things, not always just from the basic flare start. Practice the flare from the Taro freeze, from the headstand, from the handstand, even I would say from other things like even from footworks, from leg works, from back rocks, from anything. Really, the more you practice one move connected to other moves, the more you improve the confidence and the understanding of the move. Many people, when they want to learn a move, like they want to learn the flare, they focus too much on this move only, and they just keep repeating the same, the same, the same. In this way, they can still improve, of course, but the improvement will be even faster if they try to connect the move from other things and to other things. So from means you start with another move and then you go to flare, and to other things, it means you do flare first, and then from flare you go move that can be anything, can be a freeze, can be another power move, can be a footwork, a leg work, anything. In this way, really, the confidence and the control on the move will be much higher.
Stand, you start to try, okay, from handstand, from your head, from here.
Oh,
So
already
the move is
finished. Very
heavy.
easy tutorial. There are a lot of steps that are missing. Actually, the tips are still very valid. So the tips that he gave about the shoulder is good. The tip that he gave about practicing from other moves, it's also very good. But this tutorial a little bit lacks of information. There are surely better tutorials, I think. I wouldn't recommend this tutorial to someone learning flares, but still some useful advices. Still okay. Let me see this. We'll do this one first, Hironaga. This flare has so almost 7 million views. How is it possible? It's 8 years ago. How did he get so many views? Maybe because of the title? Because he put the title so simple, just to flare without any big letter or any, I don't know, maybe crazy. How can you do so many views with a flare tutorial? I did so many flare tutorials, but no one of them did nearly the same amount of views like this videos. I think my most view flare tutorial million. This is more than more than more more the views. That's crazy. Will it be good? I don't know. Very good flare. His technique remind a little bit of a gymnast. Very wide legs. And in gymnast flare, they scissor a little bit the legs. So the legs are not stable the whole time, but they are a little bit doing a lot of scissoring in the leg movement. Here, as you can see, he's kicking this leg pretty high. But this other leg is going even higher. So the legs are not symmetrical. As you can see, the distance between this leg and the head, then this, oh, as you can see here, this leg is much closer to his head and to his side. It's kind of like one leg kicks a little less and one leg kicks a little more. This is his technique. Very similar to the gymnastics technique. But they do this even more, actually. YouTube flare tutorial. Yes. Very clean form. For me, I would prefer a very symmetrical flare, kind of like B-Boy Punisher, B-Boy Demon. They have the best flares, in my opinion. This flare, oh, maybe this flare tutorial has so many views because he doesn't speak. He just show right. I think these kind of tutorials can make more views because everybody can understand. Even people who cannot speak English, maybe they will understand the explanation. Maybe I should have done more of these kind of tutorials without talking. Did a huge mistake. So here is correct. Placement, very good. And the shoulder above the wrist. This is also a good tip. It's not so necessary to show because it's pretty natural. It comes very natural. People don't need to overthink about putting the arm straight too much. It just comes naturally most of the time. Yeah, this is good. Crossing the legs, opening the finger, hold the floor. In my opinion, in the flare, you don't really need to hold the floor. I never thought about holding the floor in a flare because holding the floor is good for balance. Like if you practice a air chair or a air baby or one arm handstand or even handstand, it's good to try to grab the floor to keep the balance stable. But for a dynamic move like a flare where the hands are moving all the time, it's not really necessary to grab the floor. You don't even have enough time when you do it fast to hold the floor. So basically, your hands are just going to be flat on the floor. You're not going to hold it. So this tip is a little bit useless, in my opinion. I don't know. I cannot see how can this tip help someone. The kick here is very good. Making the circle is not necessary, but some people do it, and it can make the form better sometimes. It depends also on personal preferences. Some people like to kick the first leg in, sorry, the second leg in the flare, the one that kicks high, in a circle. Some other people just kick it straight. In my case, I just kick it straight. So I don't draw a circle. I don't do this movement that you just do here. This kind of movement, like a circle with the leg. I don't do it, but many people do it. Most of people don't, by the way. Most people just kick the legs straight. So it's up person by person. It's not necessary. It's just an extra thing. So I wouldn't explain it at the beginning of learning the flare. I would explain it maybe later when someone want to make the flare better, or where when you want to try to find your own style of the flare, you can try to experiment by kicking the legs more like a circle instead of a straight line like this. But it's not necessary at the beginning. Very wide circle, yeah. Yeah, this is correct. The flare start actually is very similar to the backspin start. This leg movement is also useful to understand how to move your legs in a flare. This exercise is also very useful, but in my opinion, doing it by sitting is good at the beginning, but it must be done in a L-sit position, because doing it by sitting is so easy. When you do a real flare, it's much harder to switch the legs like this in the air. So at first you can do this exercise just by sitting on the floor, but then I don't know if he's gonna show it now. It's much better to be in a L-sit position, and then from a L-sit position try to do this movement with the legs. It will be much, much, much more useful for the flare instead of just sitting on the floor. I think he doesn't do it. He just do it on the floor, and then he just do it on the flare. But the problem is many people cannot just switch and do it on the floor by sitting on the floor and then immediately do it on the flare. Some people really need to learn it in the L sit first. If you are already very strong in the L sit spontaneously and you are also pretty flexible, maybe you don't need to practice the L sit itself. But for most of people, I would really recommend to practice a little bit L sit and then switching the legs in the L sit before trying this in the flare. This position is very useful to understand how to get higher in the flare. Even this is very important. The position of his foot here is correct. Many people do it wrong because they point their toes on the floor. Actually, you're supposed to be like this with your foot, like he's showing now, with the dorsal or with the side of the foot on the floor. Because when you do it dynamically, you're supposed to slide. If you point your foot on the floor and you tap with your toe, then it's not going to be so useful because you're going to push up by jumping. It's not about jumping. Of course, even in this position, you can help yourself and jump a little bit. But in this position, you're going to learn how to slide back and get high. If you're going to point your foot on the floor, it's not going to help that much. Um, I see. For multiple flares, do you keep your hands forward to the side or slightly towards the back, kind of like an air chair? What do you mean by forward? By forward, the hands are always in the same spot. So the first hand that touches the floor is always staying there. Every time you lift it up and you put it back to the floor, is always the ideal position is gonna be always the same position. Of course, in reality, even me, for example, when I do a flare, maybe my hands are gonna move around a little bit. Maybe I'm gonna move forward a little bit. Maybe I'm gonna move to the side a little bit. It's not perfect. But ideally, in your head, in your brain, you want to think that your hands are always in the same spot. So if you lean the first hand here, the second hand should be just to the side, completely in the straight line, the same length as your shoulder, the same width as your shoulder. So if the first hand is here, the second hand should be here, same width as the shoulders, okay? How to absorb the shock pressure that come to wrist while switching hand. Mm, interesting. I never really thought about this, but let me think. I think I never had this issue actually, having a lot of weight on one hand, the shock. It depends on the cause, why this shock is happening. It can happen because of multiple reasons. First reason, maybe your wrist is just not conditioned or you didn't warm up enough your wrist. The shock is there. It actually a little bit of shock will always happen because you're with your hands are gonna support your whole body weight. It depends on first thing on your wrist. So did you warm up your wrist correctly or no? So make sure to warm up your wrist correctly. Second thing, it depends on your body weight. Of course, if you're very heavy, then the impact on your wrist is gonna be higher. If you're very light and very skinny, probably you're not gonna have too much stress on your wrists. Second factor is the body weight. Warm up first, body weight second. Third one is about the smoothness of the movement. So if you are very familiar with the start of the flare, then leaning the second hand on the floor, it shouldn't be an issue too much. Maybe you're starting too powerful. Maybe try to start a little bit softer, not so powerful, and see how it goes. So try to do a very slow flare and very small flare at first. Always recommend to do very small flare at first. Don't fully extend your legs very wide and don't push too powerful because the impact will be much higher. If you try to do the flare very small, you're gonna still learn the technique and it's gonna be easier. And then once you can do multiple rounds, maybe more than 5 or even better, more than 10 rounds, you can naturally progress to wider flare and pushing harder. But first, don't try to push too hard because the impact will be higher. Oh, that's nice. Practice again. Mm. I want to talk about this position a little bit, but I'm gonna put my shirt on first. So this position that he's showing here, it's almost like a side plank. Many people, I saw many tutorials, they suggest this position. It's not bad for the flare. It can help a little bit, but it's not one of the key exercises. Why not? Because our body weight is on our foot. In a real flare, our body weight is not on our feet. So by training this position here a lot, if you spend too much time spending training this position, you're gonna improve your glute strength because here he's using the glute muscle to keep the legs wide and then to push the foot down to the floor. But in the flare, this muscle is not used so much, you know. So we are using the shoulders mostly. So this kind of side plank wide position is good just to understand the technique, how the flare on the side works. But I would rather spend more time in practicing L sits and tuck planches because in these two movements, the full body weight is on our shoulders. So in these two positions, L sit and tuck planches, we really need to strengthen the shoulders. Here, he's not only strengthening the shoulder, but he's also strengthening the glute and the leg, which is not necessary in a flare. So that's why I would recommend this position just a little bit at the beginning to understand the technique, but then don't overly practice this position. It's not really necessary at all. Let's keep moving. Yeah, I gained weight because I joined gym. Oh, it makes sense. This exercise is very good to learn how to do multiple rounds starting from the back or from the side. A little bit hard to do at the beginning. I would recommend to start from the knee, not from the leg. It's a little bit easier. I'm doing a mess. This is good to slide the feet on the floor. Of course, I always recommend. In the flare, the quality at first is really not important, actually. The most important thing at first is learning the technique of one round, then learning 2 rounds, not with a good quality, but just do it. So quantity is the first main priority. When you have many flares and you focus on the quantity, then you can fix the quality. Which air flare I would recommend to start? It depends on your shoulder flexibility. So you should do some tests and you should know about your basics. Actually, I made a airflare PDF guide where I exactly explain in very good detail about this, how to choose the correct airflare technique. So if you can check my PDF guide. You can find in the description of my Instagram or some YouTube videos that I made, but I'm gonna try to explain very briefly. So vertical air flare is very good, is very suited to people who can do a bridge or a hollow back, who basically have very good shoulder flexibility in this direction here. So shoulders are very complex. You can be very flexible, for example, in this direction in the shoulders, but very bad in this direction in the shoulders, or in this direction of the shoulder. So if someone is flexible in the shoulder, it doesn't mean necessarily that he's flexible in all the directions of the shoulders. Maybe he's just flexible here. Vertical air flare requires this degree of flexibility. So being able to move the arms backward like this. How to test it? Try to do a bridge or try to do a hollow back. If you can do the bridge pretty easily and with straight arms, and if you can do a pretty good hollow back, then probably the vertical air flare fits you. Usually girls are very talented in this air flare because they have a very good shoulder flexion flexibility. This is shoulder flexion. Lower air flare requires another type of flexibility, which is more similar to the shoulder extension. Shoulder extension is this movement here of the shoulder, and that can be done also a little bit like this. So wider movement of the shoulders, basically. And you can test this by doing some shoulder extension stretches and see how wide can you go. Or for example, by doing a German hang. German hang is basically just hanging from a bar or hanging from some rings and doing a skin the cat, so doing a roll back to the bar. Imagine like here I'm hanging to a bar, then I do a roll back with my body and I end up in a weird position with my shoulders and I'm just hanging. If you can hang comfortably in this position and you feel a little bit of stretch here, but your position is still very wide and your angle in the shoulder is more than 90 degree, then I would recommend doing this air flare instead of doing the vertical one. For the people who are not flexible in any of this, in this case, you need to work on your flexibility first. And also, it's very important to work on the basics. So, for example, people who are very good in 90s and very good in spinning handstands or in reverse 90s, maybe the vertical air flare will seem a little bit easier for them. But people who are very good in low power moves like flares and swipes and windmills, maybe they will find the lower air flare easier for them. So it depends how strong your basics are and what kind of basics you have. I hope this is clear. Let's move on here. Nice that it's showing combination. Really necessary for the video, but nice. Not bad tutorial. I would say a little better than Lil G tutorial. It has more details, but some of the details are not necessarily relevant. So, for example, this detail here, this come very naturally, is not needed to show. Still acceptable, but not really needed. This one about the hand, really necessary. Overthinking too much. Sometimes people, I notice, not only in breaking, but in life in general, people cannot do something or cannot achieve some goals that they have. They overthink too many details, you know. Thinking, oh, what should I do? Is my finger in the right direction? Is my nail too long? I don't know. My hair too short? I don't know. They start overthinking something completely not necessary to try to justify the reason why they cannot do the movement or the goal that they want to achieve. Sometimes the answer is very simple and it's very obvious, and maybe they already know the answer, but they don't want to admit to themselves they already know the answer. They just need to stick to the basics. So, in my opinion, these little details about the finger, about the shoulder being exactly like the wrist, this position, are not really necessary things for the flare. Are just things that make you overthink. Will not get you to the flare really. It's not showing more important, in my opinion. That is before the L sit and the tuck plunge. These two things are very essential for me. The I don't know why some people don't show it in their tutorials. Maybe because they could already naturally do them. For them, it didn't seem like a prerequisite for the flare. People can just do something, and they assume that also other people can do it. So, for example, let's say I have good strength on my shoulders, do a sit, I can do tuck planche, so I have flares, and flare will come very naturally for me. But what about all the people who cannot do the L sit and cannot do the tuck planche? They're gonna try flares so many times, and they're gonna keep failing, keep failing, keep failing. And the reason is not because they are doing something wrong in the flare, but because they don't have enough. In this case, the L sit for the flare. This video sometimes prioritize wrong things and didn't prioritize enough good things. Let's move on with another video. I will see. Let's see Coach Sambo. Also, his flare is a little bit spinning around. He doesn't position the same before. It's not, in my opinion, it looks better. Like punish him on. The flare is very strong here. Tip a little bit. Handstand and windmill. Interesting. Handstand, of course, it can help for the back part of the flare, but it's not really a prerequisite for the flare, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure even people that cannot do a handstand, they can learn flares because it's completely different. Of course, handstand will allow you to do transitions. So maybe he said about the handstand because not because the flare itself, but because of transitions. So for example, you cannot do a flare to 90 or flare to spinning handstand if you cannot do a handstand. So yeah, it's still correct. Windmill, in my opinion, is not a prerequisite for the flare at all. For me, actually, I learned flare before learning the windmill. Swipe was my first move. Second was the flare. Actually, the backspin was the first. So backspin, windmill, backspin, sorry, flare, and then windmill. This were. Oh my god, I'm messing up. Sorry, guys. Backspin, swipe, flare, windmill. This is the correct order. Yeah, now I say it correctly. I'm sorry. So this was the correct order. So I learned windmill after learning flares. And it's very different. Maybe it can help, they can help each other a little bit. Having a good understanding of the kicking in one of the two moves can help the other move. But they are not really prerequisites to each other, but they still can help each other a little bit. By the way, I'm eating like a ice cream snack. It's a very dynamic, much more powerful, much more energy when he's speaking the videos. In this video, he's very calm. Wait, let me throw this away. This is good. It's good that he mentioned about that, doing the moves in the same direction. Sometimes I even forget to say it in my tutorial. I try to say it every time, forget it, but it's very essential because maybe we take things for granted, and when we teach moves or when we train moves, we think, oh, we'll do the windmill and the flare in the same direction if we already know. But people who are beginners, they don't know. So maybe sometimes they practice the windmill randomly, be counterclockwise, and then they practice the flare, and it be clockwise. It doesn't match. So very important. Keep saying is the moves in the same direction. Even better if you want to practice all moves on both sides. This is recommended in my opinion. Can give a lot of variations and a lot of abilities, a lot of combos later on. But of course, it takes longer, too long, in my opinion, than average. Very nice. Okay, the thing that I noticed in his tutorial is already much clearer, much more clear than the previous two tutorials. Lil G tutorial was very easygoing, very little information. The other guy tutorial was, yeah, sometimes focusing too much on not important thing. Here is paying very like a lot of attention on this detail about how to start in the same direction as your windmill or as the other move, which is very important. I like that. I can do windmill and barrel windmill, still struggling with munchmill. But my wrist hurts sometimes. Take your time. Make sure you warm up your wrist properly. Wrist, yeah, be careful. Yeah, this is true, but can also be done with the classic power move go down. Crazy. Okay, in my opinion, I wouldn't teach immediately with this step with the momentum. I would teach by just staying still in this position, or maybe even on the knee at first to make it easier. I will teach this step later when people can already do some flares to add more momentum in the flares. But at first, I wouldn't teach this kind of start. Oh, he doesn't place the hand completely sideways. It looks a little bit more diagonal. Maybe that's why when he does flares, he starts spinning around. For me, and also for other tutorials that I saw from other people, the hand should be more sideways. So not facing this direction like he's facing now, but so now he's facing kind of like this, facing more like this. In this way, I think your position in the flare will be a little more stable. If you turn your hand, then you're gonna immediately also turn your upper body probably a little bit. And also, as you can see here, the way he's placing his wrist is not completely like under the shoulder like the other tutorial explained. It's a little bit diagonal, but it's still okay. As I said before, this tip that the other tutorial gave is not really so important. It's a little bit just overthinking. So even this pose here is acceptable. It's good actually. Windmill to air flare tips. I can do windmill head spin in this case. I can do windmill to handstand too, and I can do 10 air flare already. Should I learn handstand to air flare? But it feels scary. Actually, if you can do windmill to handstand, windmill to air flare should be very easy for you. It's just a matter of momentum. So just try to use the momentum of the windmill and then directly kick into an air flare. So don't stop in a handstand, but when you get up with your hands, immediately kick for the air flare. Of course, if you learn handstand to air flare, it will help you. But then at first the transition will be a little bit more technical, let's say, and slower. So maybe it will be like windmill to handstand and then handstand to air flare. That for the control, it will be very good actually. But then if you want to make it smoother, just try to use the momentum of the windmill to directly kick into the air flare. Don't try to wait until you reach the handstand, but almost like you almost reach the handstand and then you immediately kick for the air flare. So still try uh, to use the same technique. So think about it like a windmill to handstand at first, but then when you're about to reach the handstand, kick for the air flare immediately. Of course, if you do the handstand, the momentum dies because you shouldn't reach the handstand. You should kick for the air flare before you reach the handstand. I see. He's explaining the flare directly with momentum. That's also why he said about this step, doing this step at the beginning. In my opinion, this is not the best way to learn flares directly with a lot of momentum. I see so many people using this technique, directly starting with a lot of momentum, but then they end up falling on the floor. I want to see if he talks about this in the tutorial and if he has some ways to fix it. In my opinion, it's better to do the opposite thing, to start with as little momentum as possible and to do it very small with your legs very bent. So don't use fully extension of your legs, but kick very small with your legs. It's way easier to control. And then when you learn multiple rounds, you add the momentum later on. This is not a good advice in my opinion. A lot of people start with very, very good momentum, very powerful, but then they end up falling because they cannot control the momentum. The problem with starting with a lot of momentum is the lack of control. So if you have a lot of momentum, but if you don't have the control over this momentum, the momentum becomes completely useless, you know? First, you need to learn how the movement works, the movement pattern. And then the momentum can come later, in my opinion. It's not like you just add a lot of momentum and you're magically gonna do the flare, you know? This is very good advice. Also like Lil G, but he's explaining a little better than Lil G. Yeah, this is a very good idea. Sometimes having a reference on how to kick, where to kick, really helps understand if you are really kicking or if you're not fully committing to the kick or how high you're kicking. So this is a very good advice. For me, well, if you don't have someone that can help you, you can just assist by yourself just by using your hand. Sorry, just tap your hand with your foot. So try to kick with your foot your hand, and try to put your hand as high as possible. When you do the flare, you can do this. Also for the air flare, I recommend the same thing. Many people, when doing the air flare, have the problem they cannot pull the legs close to the chest. So sometimes I make them do as an exercise, do the just the air flare start, and then tap your foot in the air flare before to throw. Throw only after tapping your foot with your hand. If you don't tap with your foot, your hand, don't jump in the air flare. So this is having some reference is very useful to understand where your legs are kicking, where you're moving in the space. Air flare, even though I can understand. Yeah, it's normal to be a little bit scared of doing the first air flares or the first moves in general in the practice. Sometimes we need more warm up, especially if it's a move that we just learned. But usually, if you can do this move for so long time, then this shouldn't happen anymore if you are already well warmed up. Maybe it's just a matter of warming up. Sometimes if you or if your wrists feel too cold, if your shoulders feel too cold, if your legs feel too cold, it's normal to be a little bit scared. But after being warm enough, you shouldn't be scared anymore. You should just do it, you know. Oh yeah, yeah, I see. It's true. Airflare feels like a backflip. This is very true because there is a jump involved where you cannot really control yourself during the jump so much. But yeah, since you can already do the airflare, it's just a matter do it gradually. Maybe the first of times, just as a warm up, you can do some exercises and do it slowly. And then when you warm up enough, then you can do multiple ones and you can do combos with it. Ah, you also injured your your wrist before. It makes sense. Yeah, yeah. It happened to me too. Sometimes when I injure something, then I'm a little bit scared of doing the same movement again. Just be careful, of course, and don't overly do it. Don't do it too fast. Take your time. It's okay actually. So yeah, no worries, no worries. If it's okay, just warm up, take your time, and then do it. Yes, very good tip. You can also use your own hand here, trying to use this hand that he has here. Try to tap this foot. Okay, here I want to see how we explain the switch hand and the leg kick, how to learn it. Of course, explaining the movement is very easy, but how to learn it actually? Because if you have a lot of momentum, people are going to have really, really hard times in switching the legs in the air. Most people, when they start very fast, one leg, they don't have control over their legs. So one leg is just going to stay down and one leg is going to stay up. In order to really fully have the control of both legs, you need to do it slowly and you need to do it softly. Oh, wait, what happened here? I heard a sound effect, but I don't know what it was. Was it from another platform? I don't know, but it's okay. This leaning on the butt, in my opinion, is not helpful. It can be helpful just for the first few times, just to understand the leg movement. But then, as I said before, in the same video as the Japanese b-boy who taught the flare, this should be done in a L-sit position, not sitting on the butt. It's very hard to correct, though. I saw many people getting stuck because they do the flare and then they sit on their butt and then they cannot avoid doing this mistake again. They cannot stay because it's kind of like a bad habit to just let your arms and your shoulders drop and just sit on your butt. If you're gonna take this habit, you're gonna have hard times to correct. So in my opinion, it's much better to just try to lift yourself up the whole time, make the movement smaller, and try to control the legs slowly, and then making it wider and making it more fast with time, rather than doing a little bit wrong movement and try to fix it. Okay, this advice it's also good, but the problem is if people are gonna fall on their butt, this advice is becomes nonsense because yeah, maybe they will be able to kick the leg up, but their butt is gonna drop down. So how to stay up with your shoulders? I'm curious if he's gonna say some advices on how to stay up with the shoulders and not fall on the butt. Because for me the solution is the L sit. But for him, what is gonna be the solution? I think he's not gonna explain this part. He's just gonna step the behind part now. But yeah, the one very fundamental thing is lacking in this tutorial is the L sit part. Maybe I suppose, because he also has a lot of students that can do flares. Of course, he will have some solutions on this, and he's pretty good in teaching. Suppose one way is just first they can learn it by sliding on the butt a little bit, and then they're just focusing on pushing down the shoulders and making the transition from one end to the other a little bit faster. Maybe this, I can imagine this would be his solution to this, which is not a bad solution. It still works. Actually, people can still learn the flare in this way. But in my opinion, the form will not be the best, and not will also start a little bit switching around, because when you start moving the weight from one end to the other too fast, you're gonna start jumping a little bit in the flare, and the weight shift will not be smooth. While if you want to have a very high and very controlled flare, you need to have the good basics like the L sit and the tuck planche. As I said. For me, I'm more like I learn it more in this way, and also in the way Punisher and Demon teach the flare. How many years have you been b-boying now? Been around 20 years now. Okay, what age until what is the best age? Ooh, this is very hard question because until like 5 years ago, maybe I would say 8, 9, 10 years ago, the best movers were around 19, 20, 21, 22, even 25 years old, around that age, like from 19 to 25. But nowadays, the best power movers are all kids or teenagers. Like they are from 10 years old to maybe 16, 17, 18, like this. So in their young teenage years, old teenagers maximum, so a little bit below 20. It's very hard to reply. So I think I don't have an answer right now. Only time will tell. It depends. For example, let's say this new generation of kids that now are 10 years old or 15 years old or 16, 17, 18, like this. Let's see how much they will evolve in the next years. And let's see if they can still improve even more and even more when they are in their 20s, 25, even 26, something like this, or if their level will go down. I would say the best way, the best timing to learn power moves is as soon as possible. So the younger you are, the better. But of course, there is still people who start really old and they can still reach a very good level. I also met some people who started power moves in their late teenage years, for example, 18, 19. But then when they got 23, 24, 25, they got very high level in power moves. Of course, if you're going to start around 25 or 30, it's going to be a little bit harder, especially because of lifestyle. The lifestyle is the main thing. It's not the body itself, but it's the lifestyle. Because when we get older, we have other priorities. We need to work, maybe. We need to focus on other things. And this will create a lot of distractions and a lot of excuses on why to not training. But when we are kids and when we are teenagers, we fully commit to practice and we can practice every day, even 7 hours. If many people in their 30s or even in the 40s maybe will have 7 hours per day to practice, probably their level will still be very dope, you know. But the problem is not about the body itself. Of course, it's also about the body because the injuries are going to be a little bit slower to heal when you get older. But the main problem is the time management. So about the age, I'm not sure, but I think it's also the wrong question to ask because we cannot be sure about the age. Also, do you know B-Boy Eagle from Korea? This B-Boy is over 40 years old, but his power move level is so high. He can still do crazy combos, real one-handed air flare, and he's over 40. So this means that if you keep your body healthy, flexible, if you avoid injuries, you can still be doing crazy power moves over 40. So yeah, I don't really know, but this is not the main point. The main point is how much time are you willing to dedicate to power moves? Is it gonna be only few hours per week? Is it gonna be few hours per day? Or is it gonna be 5 hours per week, 5 hours per day even? So the more time you invest in it, the more return you will have. Of course, you also need to be careful because the more you practice, the more chances of getting injured you have. So you need to balance. It's all about managing the time and balancing like how much you can practice, but also how much you can recover from the practice. I learned how to do air flares when I was 34. Oh, that's amazing. So cool. For me, I got 10 air flares as a young adult, actually, last year at 24-year-old. I think I only managed to pull it off because I started since 12. I see, I see. Yeah, it makes sense. For me, the older guy that I know that learned multiple air flares that I personally know is was around 26, I suppose. And he started airflare from scratch at that age, and then he learned multiple airflares. I'm sure there are also other guys who learn multiple airflares in a more advanced age. But the main issue for most of the people I know is not about they cannot do it because they are too old, but is that they cannot do it because they don't put enough time into practice the airflare. For me personally, when the time when I learned the airflare, it was a time where I used to practice like at least 3 hours per day, minimum 3 hours per day. Maybe sometimes I will skip one day of training, so I will practice 6 times a week because I wanted to rest one day. But I used to practice a lot, and this is the difference. Most people who are in their 30s, they only practice 3 times a week or 2 times a week. Or some people maybe even practice every day, but maybe they only practice 1 hour every day, or maybe 2 hours every day. Sometimes it's not enough because you also need a lot of time to warm up, a lot of time to stretch. So if you practice only 1 or 2 hours, most of the time you will be spending warming up and stretching. And then the rest of the time it will be only 30 minutes to practice only power moves. The warm up need to be long, and also the stretching need to be long because to avoid injuries. You know, if someone in their 30s practice 2 hours but they spend only a few minutes or 20 minutes to stretch and warm up, it's very risky they can injure themselves. So it's a little bit hard to balance. In Singapore, my country, no one learned it. They started as an adult. Actually, it becomes very hard. Those guys, they got it like fights, started young like me. Physically, recovery is definitely a factor. Yeah, this is true. This is true. Recovery when we get older is slower. So we need to be more careful, and that's why I said like we need a longer warm up. So for example, if you're an adult, you need to practice longer actually, because you need more time to warm up properly. So you cannot practice only 1 hour. In 1 hour, you can almost do nothing for the air flare to learn the air flare. If you cannot do the air flare, if you can already do it, maybe your body will still remember the movement and you can still do it. Maybe you still need to be careful actually. But if you're learning airflare from scratch, you need more longer time to fully warm up, to fully adapt your body and then learn the movement correctly. Let me move on a little bit. Mm. Yeah, I agree. Hong Ten is crazy. He's still amazing at that age. Yeah, lifestyle have a huge role. Yeah, you see, for example, Hong Tan. Hong Tan is just a professional b-boy. He focuses on training a lot. That's why he can stay so high level, even though he's pretty old, let's say. And the problem is that many b-boys, it's not that they get older and so they're not able to do the moves anymore, but they're not putting the time anymore like they used to do when they were younger. Maybe when they were younger, they used to practice, I don't know, let's say just 5 hours every day. Now they used to practice only 1 hour every day, or maybe a few hours every 3 sessions per week. I don't know. I'm just giving random numbers. But the amount of time really changes when you get older. But sometimes I think the adults, it may be because even physically they cannot take the immense physical volume in training power. It depends. It depends how you train. If you train very carefully and you warm up a lot, you can still have a lot of training volume even as an adult. So it really depends. You need to adapt your body. The body, even as an adult, is pretty adaptable. You can get more flexible. You can get stronger even as an adult. But you need to be more careful. That's the only thing. It's not like it's impossible. Actually, it's possible. But it requires a little bit more effort and more time. And the time is the main factor that people, adults, they don't have. Funny. This was funny, Pay. Yeah, this is the same thing that I said before. The purpose of putting the dorsal of the foot on the floor while doing flares is to slide. Many people that point the foot, they cheat by jumping a little bit. We're not supposed to jump when doing the flare. We're supposed just to slide with the feet. And later on, of course, even not sliding anymore. Yeah, I agree. Starting with footworks is definitely harder. Uh, I know only one b-boy who started with footworks and then he learned power moves later on, but he's kind of like an exception. And his lifestyle is also very healthy. He learned air flare. I don't know what age exactly, but in his mid 20s. And when he was a teenager, he only could do footworks and a lot of top rock footwork, a lot of dancing. And as a power move, he could only do ground power move like windmill and head spin. But then when he grew older, in his mid 20s, he started doing air power and flare, air flare, and this kind of combos. and he could learn it. But at the same time, he was keeping his body very healthy. He was doing a lot of stretching. He was also doing some workouts and calisthenics. And I don't know how long he was practicing, but he is a proof that he could do it. Of course, he was still not that old. He was still in the 20s, not in the 30s or 40s. But I think it's still possible. Power move to footwork, footwork to power move. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Power move to footwork transition is much easier.
because then you keep your weight on your hands. So after a few weeks, I really hope you manage to pull out 3 or 4 flares. Even though you might have complexes with your form, just don't forget you're already pushing 3 or 4 flares, which is not bad because most people don't even get that far. So now the trick is actually really, really simple. You actually want to focus on numbers here. You just want to push on the number. For example, if I can do 3 flares, the first one will be kind of clean. If I can do up to 5 flares, then the first 2 will start looking really, really good. And if you can do 10 flares, then the first 3, 4, maybe even 5 will actually start looking good. So what you actually want to do now is you want to push the numbers so far as you can that the first flares start really looking good. So that
Yeah, this is interesting. It's not necessarily always true. For myself, for example, was not true. Not completely true. For example, when I learned my first 10 flares, even my first round of flare was not that clean. Actually, same thing for my flare on the other side. Now I can do flare on both sides, but on my opposite direction, I don't know how many rounds I can do. Maybe I can even do 20 rounds on my opposite side. But even my first round is not that clean, actually, not that powerful, because I didn't train consistently for to make my flare more powerful. I just trained for the volume and just to be able to learn it and to do it, you know. So, but it's I still agree. You need to push your numbers up, especially over 10, in my opinion. 10 is the first threshold. Of course, first is going to be 3, 5, and then, but then 10 is the first real number. When you can do 10 flares, it means you can really start to work on your quality after this. But it doesn't really come naturally, in my opinion. It's not like, for example, if you got 10 flares, you necessarily have also the first flare is very good and the second flare is very good, something like this. Maybe for some b-boys, in some cases, it's true. But in some other cases, it's not true. You need to specifically work on the quality of the movement in order to get very good in flares. And this is also depending a lot on your flexibility. Because, for example, if I'm very inflexible and if I can do 20 flares, even my first flare will look very ugly and not clean. Because the problem is not that I cannot do flares or that I cannot do many flares, but the problem is my range of motion, my range of movement. If I'm not flexible, I cannot extend fully. I cannot open the legs very wide. So the flare will still look not good. So in order to improve the quality of the flare, first of all, yeah, you need to focus on the quantity at first and push the number more and more. But then you need to stretch a lot, first of all. You need to do specific stretches to get more flexible in the flare. And then you need to do some specific combos or some specific exercises that are going to allow you to push harder in the flare. For example, trying to get up from the flare, doing flare to headstand, flare to handstand, flare to other higher moves, and also trying the entrance of the flare from other moves, maybe swipe to flare, air flare to flare, or starting flare with the opposite hand.
means if you can push like 30 flares, the first 10 to 15 flares are going to look really, really good. But
Mm,
as you move more
not necessarily. I get the point. The point is partially true, and I also push people to do more rounds first, do more rounds, do more rounds, but it's not guaranteed that the first rounds are gonna immediately become much cleaner. I suppose, Sambo is coaching to kids most of times or to young teenagers. So for kids, their body adaptability is very high. So sometimes they can get more flexible just by doing a move without doing some specific stretches. So I suppose for him, maybe he saw so many kids doing many flares, and once they learn 10 flares or over 10 flares, their flexibility in the flare already improves naturally. And then that's why he say like when you get over 10 flares, your first flares are gonna be very good because for the kids maybe their body adapts more naturally to the movement. But if you start doing power moves a little bit older, even in late teenagers or in their 20s or in their 30s, it's not guaranteed that if you can do many rounds of a move, the first round will be very clean. It's not guaranteed. Uh, Sorry, I'm reading the comments. Wait a second. Oh, it depends on your goals. If it depends what power moves you like. Maybe you can. You didn't mention any power move similar to the turtle or the cricket or the jackhammer, UFO. Maybe you can try these kind of moves. Otherwise, you can just train variations of the moves you can already do. So, for example, you can do head spin. Try variations of the head spin. You can do barrel windmill, munch mill. Try other variation. Try maybe I don't know, Italian windmill, Superman windmill. You can do halos. Try shoulder halos. The other variations of the halo, maybe double halo, other things. Maybe you can try other moves like spinning moves more, like shoulder spins, elbow spins, 90s, reverse 90, and also a reverse shoulder spin, reverse elbow spin. It really depends on your goals, so it's a little bit hard to recommend. Okay, so if you can even do jackhammer and UFO, try to focus on the variations. You got the basic moves down already, which is very good. Focus on the variations of every single move that you can do. And also on the combos. So for example, if you can do very well halos and you can do head spins, can you also combine halo and head spin very good? So try to combine halo to head spin to halo to head spin many times, even but without using your your hands. So just almost like a double halo, but just connecting halo to head spin like this. I think those are more optional. Just talking about the main core. So let me read again. You got spin, barrel windmill, munch mill, flare, air flare, head spin, halo, 90. Maybe the main core will be something in reverse. So for example, I don't know if you got it, but if you can only do the power moves, for example, the 90 on your main hand, let's say the right hand, if you spin clockwise, try to learn the reverse 90 or try to do the reverse elbow spin, the reverse shoulder spin. Move in the reverse allow you to build more control also on the opposite side. And this kind of moves will be very useful if you want to do crazy combos with crazy control. For example, air flare to reverse 90, air flare. Even improving your basic move as well, even the air flare itself will improve if you can do both reverse 90 but also 90. Oh, you can also do reverse 90. So basically you can do all the basic moves, right? So now you don't need main core anymore. You just need variations. If you can do reverse 90, if you can do 90, if you can do flare, wimi, hello, all this kind of thing. Can you also combine all these moves in all the possible ways? Combine them first. If there is any combination that is still not so good, maybe focus on the combinations first. And also focus on the stamina. You can also focus on the stamina. So getting your power move combo longer to improve your overall stamina and do many rounds, many different combos. And then just variations and variations. Oh, that's dope. So you're already very good level actually.
50 flares. So that means they can push up to 30, maybe even 40 good looking flares. So this is actually what you want to do. You just want to keep pushing your numbers to get the cleanest flare you can get on your
Yeah,
hands.
I agree in part. Pushing the numbers is good, but to clean the previous flares, you need to do specific exercises. It's not always about just pushing the numbers. Pushing the numbers is one part, cleaning the move itself is another part that require a little bit extra time depending on the person. As I said before, if you're very young, if you are a kid or if you are very talented in flexibility, probably your body will naturally adapt to the movement. And what he is saying now is completely true, 100%. But for people who are naturally a little bit more stiff, they need some extra exercises to really get the move clean.
And it's actually kind of funny to actually watch somebody that's really good at flares doing this maximum. Because I seen like a b-boy do like 70, and when he was up to like 60 something, you could actually.
Our brain ground to air power move is the main problem. So I recommend you to practice a lot windmill to head spin to air power move to 90 or to air flare. Because usually when people struggle to go from windmill up to air flare, if they learn to connect the head spin first and then the air flare, then also the windmill transition will become smoother. So get very familiar with windmill to head spin to air flare first. It can be easier. And try to reduce the number of the head spin before the air flare. So for example, at first you can start by doing windmill, head spin, you try to stabilize yourself in the head spin, and then you go to air flare. Later on, try to do a very quick head spin. So try to do windmill, do only one round of head spin or maybe two rounds, and then directly to air flare. And then try even less. Try to do windmill, only one round of head spin, and then air flare. And then even less. Windmill, just half round of head spin, and then air flare. And in this way, you will also learn windmill to air flare very gradually. Mm.
For like flares YouTube when you're just starting out with flares. So this is the game you have to play. You have to be really patient, and of course you have to be really consistent. The more you practice, the faster you learn.
Warm up.
Get a really good warm up because the flares are really heavy on your wrists and on your groin.
Okay, okay. Maybe I will skip a little bit.
You start doing flares out of nowhere, you're probably going to injure yourself, and then
Be gentle.
obviously you're going to slow down your car. Make sure you
Floating.
practice with sweatpants and not shorts. Practicing flares with shorts will
Yeah,
cause
this is a good advice. I saw people many times practicing flare barefoot or in the shorts when they still are learning the beginning of the movement. Actually, in the flare, at first you need to slide your feet or even your legs on the floor. So it's really recommended to practice with slippery socks, even knee pads, and also slippery pants in order you can fully really slide on the floor. Don't immediately practice, yeah, with shorts or barefoot or with heavy shoes.
end up with your knees like bleeding and stuff, and you could be.
Actually, this at the moment was the best tutorial in my opinion. The only thing that is missing, kind of like the others, is the front part of the flare. Still, nobody mentioned about the L sit. Let me go for the next one. Which one? Pygmy or Simon? Simon Atta, monster. We'll do Pygmy first. You're welcome.
What's up, everybody? Lucas here with Practice and
He's
Mental.
so funny the way he speaks.
For preparation, this tutorial will teach you how to do flares, but you gotta focus.
Compared to the other guys, he's a little bit more stable in the hand placement in the flare. As you can see, his hands
Will teach you
are
how to
placing
focus.
almost at the same place in each round. Maybe it's slightly changed,
Some prerequisites to
but
have flares
his
include
hand placement is pretty
general
good.
flexibility and general body weight strength. This stretch right here, also known as the seated straddle, is a great stretch for developing flexibility specifically for the flare. I almost call it the flare stretch.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is there are only two stretches very useful for the flare. One is this one. I call it pancake. Maybe you can call it seated straddle. I don't know. But this is for the legs.
Now, for
And then the
speed, you
second
want to
one
be able to have the upper body strength to lift.
second one he didn't show is the shoulder extension because you need to have shoulder extension flexibility for the flare. And many people in their tutorial don't mention about that. Maybe they already got a pretty decent shoulder extension naturally, but for people that don't have this naturally, they need to practice. Here he's practicing kind of like a L sit, but with feet on the floor. This is very basic. Of course, you need to be able to do this for a flare. In my opinion, this is not the only strength needed prerequisite. You need a little bit more than that, in my opinion.
Your butt off the ground in the still position. Having the strength to do an L sit is ideal before learning flares.
Pygmy doesn't break
However,
anymore.
not
I think
necessary.
sometimes he's still practicing a little bit, but very, very little.
100% necessary. Also, if you could do a tucked flange for a couple of seconds,
Oh,
that would
finally,
be
finally, he's the first guy who mentioned about the L sit and the tuck planche. Wait for me. Yeah, and I like it. L sit and tuck planche are needed, as I always say.
would be ideal as well.
The problem is many b-boys maybe already start with these kind of prerequisites without even knowing. Maybe probably they can do a tuck planche, they can do an L sit, or almost, maybe they almost can do it. And so for them, doing the flare is pretty natural. But the problem is all these people that cannot do these things, they need to learn them.
But once again, you will develop strength for flares by just practicing flares. However,
Mm.
being able to do these
Yeah,
simple
Pygmy
calisthenics movements will make learning flares
is
a lot
the
easier
goat.
and a lot safer. Now, let us begin learning flares. The first step is you're going to want to determine which way you're going to spin. Imagine a clock on the ground. You spin counterclockwise, the way I spin. You're going to be using the same arms and legs I described in this video at the same times. If you spin clockwise, then use opposite arms and legs. Now let us begin actually learning flares. Stand both feet on the ground. You're going to step out. If you're going counterclockwise like me, you step out with the left leg and you put the left arm on the ground. First the leg, then the arm, very close
He
together.
also doesn't place the
Then
hand
face the
fully
ground
sideways.
with your left arm. You're going to want
Interesting.
to swoop your left leg around the back and kick it towards your right
Now it's a
heel.
little bit
When your
more
left
sideways.
leg is about to hit your right heel, you want to
Now
throw
it's
your left
sideways.
foot to the
So I
sky.
think he's putting the hand on the floor a little bit randomly because he placed his hand on the floor in different angles.
Lean on your left arm. When you get more used to doing this, you can speed it up, and when you're ready, you can go for your first initial entrance. Swooping your left leg into your right heel, you need to throw your right heel towards the sky and allow your left leg to come around front. Then you're going to quickly place your right hand on the ground. A key principle that will help you learn high flares from the beginning is keeping your arms pushed down as far as they go.
Yeah, this is the same, kind of like the same as Lil G said. You need to push your arms, your shoulders down. This is very important. He also doesn't explain how to switch the legs properly. Um, of course, the legs movement, explaining it is very simple. You just need to swing the legs like this, you know. He doesn't explain any exercise where we can learn how to swing the legs without falling on our butt or without falling in general with our feet, our legs on the floor.
Do not sag. What do I mean by sagging? Don't do this. You do this. Push those arms
Yeah, this
down
is
to
very good.
maximum height. Think about it logically. No. Yes. In addition to pushing your arms down, something
Of course, pushing the arms down is helpful for like, to learn how to do one full round, but it's not the only part. He needed to explain a little more about the hips also, or about the L sit, how to switch the legs in this pose. Flares were always hard for me. I find it easier. Yeah, it really depends person by person. For some people, flares are harder. For some people, air flares are harder. Usually, air flares are harder in terms of coordination, but flares are harder in terms of physical demanding.
that will also help you get higher in the front and maintain more control is the blocking principle. When your legs come to the front with your flares, you actually want to lean your chest back. This will cause your arms to be on a slight angle, which will block them into the ground, which will give you more control as you get more height with your flares. So you don't pull away and shoot out to the front. The same thing works for the side and the back as well. When you go to the side, you want to lean towards the opposite side, and when you're in the back, you want to lean.
Okay, this is an interesting concept, and he's the first one who explained the leaning. For me, I don't explain it because it's not really so necessary. I think it's necessary only on the side part. But when you stop the clip in someone who is doing the flare with momentum, actually you can notice they are not really leaning. They are not leaning into a planche or they are not leaning into a mana kind of thing. The only time they are leaning is to the side because you need to lift up one arm, so you need to go side by side in the flare. But about forward and backwards, there is not really much lean. Maybe the lean can help as a concept at first to understand like where is your body weight and where is your strength. But in my opinion, is not necessary really. It's not really needed. Also because yeah, while doing fast flares, we're not leaning at all anymore. Maybe only on the side a little bit.
Towards the front. Now back to the initial entrance with all things applied. Left arm down, swoop the left leg towards the right heel. You want to kick the right heel up super hard and hold down tight with the left arm. So right heel's kicking up, left arm is holding down. At this very moment, you're going to want to do the switch. As your left leg swooped under your right heel, it needs to then wrap around and shoot up towards the sky. There, you will put your right hand on the ground, holding tight, pushing down, leaning back.
Yeah, that's good explanation. I would add one more thing that he didn't mention. At the end, when he is in this position, leaning, in his case, the left hand on the floor again. So now his left hand is lifted up and is backwards. We cannot really see it at the moment. If he would lean it on the floor in this moment, it would be better. Why? To get the habit of keep going with the flare. Some people who focus too long on one round of flare only, they have this bad habit of arriving in this position like he's arriving now. So they're not used to lean the opposite hand on the floor anymore, and they have hard times doing multiple rounds. So in my opinion, already when you learn the first round of flare, immediately when you are on the back, you should lean both hands on the floor. So you understand the body weight and the transfer of the weight between one arm and the other. I can do two clean flares at most. I just use flares to combo into other power moves. I am OG, but I can do 5 to flare. Oh, I see, I see. It makes sense. Air flare feel like halos in the air for me. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Halo and air flares are pretty similar in terms of leg kick.
Giving you a nice high V in the front. You might need to really work on this, develop the flexibility, work.
Okay, here, as you can see, he's a little bit waiting too long on this arm. He can lean this hand a little bit faster on the floor. So he's still not with this hand on the floor, but his body is already almost going forward. As you can see, his hand placement is a little awkward here. If he would be a little bit faster with this arm, he would arrive in a better positioning here on the back, a little bit higher even, because he can push a little bit with both arms and not only with one arm. So yeah, the timing can a little bit be improved.
But it's very simple in principle. Opposite arms, opposite legs. Now, one of the parts most people struggle with, getting to the back and getting there high, lifting. However, to be honest, there really is nothing super complicated when it comes to getting to the back. The same principle of kicking hard and holding down tight with the arms applies. So, if you're going counterclockwise, when you're going to the
Yeah,
back,
he's always leaning the second hand, so his left hand a little bit too late on the floor. He should be a little quicker. If he's a little quicker, he can lift his hips high more.
you're going to be wanting to hold
Basically, he's lifting his butt up with only one arm, almost like if he's doing a reverse 90 for on flare.
down hard with the right
Oh, maybe a
heel,
slow motion you can notice.
up hard with the
You see,
left.
he's staying too long on this arm. Now he's still okay, but now oh,
Almost
he cut.
instantaneously after kicking up hard with the left leg and holding Now with the
Yeah,
right
he's
arm,
cutting
you're going to
before.
want to kick in with
This
your
arm is
right
going,
leg.
it needed to be quick a
This
little bit.
will pull your left arm down to the front and help you get that V in the back. You want to always keep the flare moving. That's what keeps you above the ground. Now, additionally, there's a little exercise that can help you get your hips as high as possible in the back. When you're going to be swooping around to the back and putting your left arm down,
Yeah,
you're
now the
going to
timing
want
is
to
good actually. This should be the
this
timing
cheesy looking
with the
straight
arms.
exercise actually really helps.
This is the
Step
correct
to the
timing
side,
actually.
put that arm down, and when you do
But when
so,
he did flares, he didn't do like
push your
this.
butt up to the sky and tighten your entire core. This is the same feeling you want when doing the flares. So instead of going around to the back of the flares and being basically neutral with the hips, this will help you get used to tightening that core, holding yourself down, pushing your
He's
hips
bigger
way
for
up to the
this.
sky
You
and
mean like
feeling super high, super
he's too
hard.
big?
It's a simple exercise, but it can help train your core.
One thing that nobody mentioned in their tutorials is to learn some footworks before learning the flare. In my opinion, this would be beneficial to understand the weight shifting on the arms. The footwork sometimes can be a little bit similar to flares in terms of shoulder and arms movement. About the legs, of course, is completely different, but about the arms movement, it can be pretty similar, especially if you start doing your footworks very fast.
Muscle memory to get you higher flares in the back. All right, now let's talk about keeping it spread in the back and then entering into your second flare to continue into more flares. So once again, kicking into the back, you're going to want to be
His
kicking
flares look
with
more
your
piked.
left leg
Yeah, it's right.
in super hard with your right leg. When your right leg ends up kicking all the way around to the back, you're going to end up in a straddle planche like position. Don't need to be able to do the straddle planche to be able to do flares, because when you're doing flares, you're going to be always moving, so it's going to be totally different. Now, when you end up in that straddle planche like position, keeping your hips high is going to be ideal. That feeling is going to be exactly the same as that cheesy exercise I just showed you. Now, when you've reached this position, you're going to be ready to enter into your second flare. Simply, it's just opposite arms and legs once again. So being in the straddle planche like position in the back, you are then going to want to shift your weight towards your left arm and start to move your legs back to the entrance. Your right leg is going to go up and your left leg is going to go under, kicking. Both legs are kicking super hard. You are then going to want to reshift your weight back to the front, always leaning opposing where your legs are kicking. So notice how I'm always leaning my arms away from where my legs are kicking. So if my legs are in the front, I'm leaning my arms
It
back.
is low.
In the back,
Yes,
my arms are
it's on
facing forward. If
purpose.
I'm on the side, I'm leaning towards the opposite side.
Yeah,
Always leaning
this is true. This is good. It's always keeping in mind that the legs are moving to one side, you're leaning with your body weight on the opposite side, kind of to counterbalance the.
when you do enter.
In my opinion, about entering the flare, I would explain to start trying the flare from the opposite hand. I explain this in some of my tutorials. Not many people explain it on YouTube. So, in order to learn multiple rounds of flare, try one round of flare first. Start with the opposite hand instead of the regular hand. This will make you used to the movement of the entrance of the flare from the back.
Back into your second flare,
Hey, Adrian.
continuing doing multiple flares, it's all the same. Always kicking, always holding down.
And also
These flares
sliding.
will probably
Sliding is very important even to continue the flares. Don't try to be too high by sliding. He didn't mention about that, I think.
that's okay. It's ideal to keep
His
practicing
contents are nope.
kicking.
You mean dope or
Keep
you means
stimulating
nope?
your muscles to do better and better. Over time, your flares will improve significantly. Key principles: keep your arms pushed down, always kick with opposite legs,
He had a
no
very good
flares
video
in the
quality, by the
front.
way,
Just keep
for
these key
that year.
principles in
What
mind,
year is this?
and sooner than later, your body will adapt to the micro adjustments in timing, and you'll be having your legs flying above the ground, getting high flares all the way around, multiple flares, looking cool, looking slick. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Alright, all together now, total recap how to do flares. Start at the entrance position. You throw your left leg out, put your left arm down, swoop your left leg around as you kick your right leg towards the sky and shift your weight to your right arm. Kick your left leg up super hard and your right
Actually, mm, in my opinion, this is not really explaining how to do the flare. What he's doing now is more like describing the flare, which are two different things. Some b-boys, the way they explain, actually they are describing the move. So in the legs, this leg move here, this leg move here, you should do this and you should do this. Of course, I can notice this by myself just by looking at the move. But it's a different way to explain how to do the move. So yeah, in my case, in my opinion, I would explain it a little different, maybe as you saw from my tutorial.
right leg in super hard, coming to the back in the straddle planche position. You then continue your momentum around,
Still, the tutorial was not bad, actually.
kicking your right leg back up as you shift your weight.
Especially, I like that he talked about the kind of like the L-sit position, the shoulder push, and the tuck planche. There are not many tutorials talk about this, so I appreciate that he talked about this.
To your left arm, kicking your left leg around and back up, continuing into the second flare. You keep this pattern going around and around, always leaning opposite, always kicking opposite legs. Seems like a lot, but it's very simple in principle, and I believe you can get it. I know you guys can do this. I hope this tutorial helps you all out. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, what year was that? 8 years ago. So now let's do Side Monster. And then finally, I'm gonna do my own flare tutorial, pretty old. I don't even know how I explained the flare at that time, because I also changed the way I explain the flare over time, actually. First, I had less knowledge, so I think the way I used to explain flare is more like the like any other b-boy would explain the flare. Maybe so similar to these other tutorials that I'm showing now. But now I changed my way of explaining the flare a lot during the course of the years, because I realized some people really needed more than just explaining how the flare looks like, actually. Oh, it's so interesting. Simon, when he does the flare, he really do a big circle with his first leg. See the right leg. You can see he's not kicking up immediately, but he's kicking to the side with this leg, then creating a circle very high, and then kicking to the opposite side. So he's doing very a big circle with his leg. Having watched a ton of tutorials on breaking back in the day, I almost know every single one. Yeah, I can imagine. Actually, I also see in all of these tutorials, even though for me, I learned the flare without any tutorial. Just my first teacher actually a little bit explained me the concept of the flare, but then I learned it myself. But then I still see the tutorials just to see how other people explain the flare because I'm pretty curious. Actually, his flares are pretty low, but he can still go so high to other move. Hmm. Oh, this is so important. He showed the two main stretches, the pancake or straddle, this one here, and the shoulder extension flexibility, this one. Oh, that's why his flare is not so high, because as you can see here, his shoulder extension is not that great. He's only 90 degree. Like this angle here between the arm and the back is only around 90 degree, like this. To have a higher flare, you need more. So you need to get lower with your hips and to be more extended. The more you can lift your arms up in this direction for the flare, the higher will be the flare. So that's why his flare actually is a little low. I can clearly see from his flexibility. His legs flexibility is pretty good, as you can see here. But yeah, shoulder extension is not that good. Oh, and as I mentioned before, this type of shoulder flexibility is completely different than this type of shoulder flexibility. This is the flexion. This one is the extension. Flexion is very useful for walkovers and for high air flares and for the bridge and for the hollow back. Extension is very good for flares and also for lower air flares. Yeah, actually, I think all any good flare tutorial should mention about these two stretches, pancake or straddle, how you want to call it, and shoulder extension, because these are very, very key. Same thing as the L-sit and the tuck planche. Flexibility is pancake or straddle, and shoulder extension. Strength is L-sit and tuck planche. So four elements, two elements of flexibility and two elements of strength. I think all the flares tutorials should mention about these four elements. Otherwise, they are all missing something, in my opinion.
L-sit or V-sit strength will make learning the flare easier.
Oh, he also mentioned about the L-sit. I'm really happy about that.
Planche and press to handstand strength are also useful.
And he also mentioned the planche and the press to handstand. So he mentioned all the four elements that I just mentioned. I'm very happy finally someone mentioned all the four elements. So this tutorial already for me goes to the top that I've seen until now, because the previous tutorials that I've seen, they all failed to mention these four elements that are key for the flare. Maybe because for them they were natural, as I said before. For some people, some elements are already natural. But when you explain a move, you should not take for granted that some people maybe are not strong or not flexible enough in some positions. So, I mean, you should suppose that some people don't have enough basics. So, not everyone is already strong on the shoulders to do a little bit attack planche or a press to handstand or a nail sit or a pancake stretch or a shoulder extension. So you need to suppose someone is very weak in every aspect of flexibility, strength, and coordination. And then you can make the puzzle and explain the move.
For the back of the flare. I encourage you to stretch the straddle and shoulder extension positions as part of your warm-up before practicing flares. Although not
Yes.
essential, being able to
Yeah, here he's supposed to slide with his butt forward as possible. His shoulder extension is not great, but it's still decent enough to do flare. In my opinion, this is the minimum that you need. 90-degree angle. Less than this will be a little bit troublesome. You can still do flares if you have less than this degree of shoulder extension flexibility. But if you have less than this, it means your flare will be very low. And your flare, even if you will try so hard to make it higher, it will not get higher, because your shoulder basically will not move more than this range of range of motion. So in order to have a very high flare, you need to have at least 90 degree of this angle here, or possibly more.
do windmills will make learning flares easier, as the leg swing is similar in both skills. Being able to do the six step is also beneficial.
Oh, I'm happy. I'm very happy that he mentioned us about the footworks. The first video that also mentioned about the footworks, even though his footwork is a little funny, but still, the main thing is understanding in the footwork about the arms weight shifting. So you don't need to have a perfect footwork. You don't need to be a crazy good footworker, but at least be able to do some footworks in order to understand how to move your body weight. So as you can see here, he's in a footwork position, but his arm position is exactly the same as a flare.
Skills. Being able to do the six step is also beneficial, as the body travels in the same circular.
Yeah, six step is just one of the footwork, but actually it can be any footwork. It can also be a 3-step or a 4-step or a 2-step. Actually, the more footworks you can do, the better the arms timing will be for the flare. So usually people who are very, very good in footworks, they never have trouble in the flare regarding their timing. Maybe they can have trouble in swinging their legs. Maybe they don't know how to swing their legs if they cannot do any other power move. But in terms of arms timing, they are very good, because in their footworks, they already know how to switch their body weight from one shoulder, one arm to the other.
Path while facing forward, and the arms are required to step over the body similarly in both skills. In standard flares, the body should stay facing one direction the whole time.
Oh, I'm so happy you also mentioned this. The body should be facing one direction. As I said before, it's not a mistake if you turn around, if you spin around when you do the flare, and if you start in this way and then you face the opposite way or even this way. It's okay. but it's not the best possible flare you can do. So I'm happy he also mentioned about this. So at the moment, he's the only guy who is really explaining all the details that are really needed for the flare. And at the moment, he didn't say anything useless. Some other tutorials, sometimes they say a little bit useless things. As for example, this thing about the fingers or the positioning of being with the shoulder above the wrist that, in my opinion, is not that useful. But at the moment, everything is said is very true and very useful.
And the weight must shift back and forth over the supporting hand. In this tutorial, like all my power tutorials, I'll be teaching the flare in a counterclockwise direction. Simply mirror the instructions if you want to learn.
By the way, he can speak. He can spin both ways so well. Actually, he's the only. I think he's the only b-boy in the world who can do real one-handed air flare in both directions. Not to air flare again, but to flare. So he can do air flare to real one-handed air flare to flare on both sides. Maybe someone else can do it, but I never see anyone else do it at the
In
moment.
the clockwise direction. Before trying flares, it's useful to get an appreciation for the leg swing technique using your arms. The flare starts with one leg kicking high to the side or diagonally toward your ear.
Yeah, these are good drills using your hands and also using the legs by sitting on the floor just to understand how to move the legs at the beginning. But then you don't need to do these drills consistently. It's just for the first attempt, just to for someone who has no idea on how to use their legs.
Swooping low, then up toward the opposite ear. You should be in a straddle V-sit position at the front of your flare. From here, the original leg that kicked high swoops close to the ground until you reach the starting position, and this process is repeated. These motions with the legs are what maintain power in your flares.
Oh, interesting, Kenny. Before learning flares, did you had already good footworks? Or no? Maybe this may be the reason, or maybe sometimes it's just natural. It can come naturally for some people, but for some other people, it doesn't come naturally.
A simple way to think of the flare leg motion is the right leg kicking high while the left leg swoops low initially, then the left leg kicks high while the right leg swoops close to the ground. Ideally, we want the legs to be straight and not touch the floor, but rarely is the flare learned this way. When learning flares, I recommend wearing socks on a soft and low friction floor like carpet or martial arts mat, or wearing a pair of shoes you don't mind scuffing. This is because your feet will...
I also say this in all of my flare tutorials to start with socks, slide the feet on the floor. This is very important. And yeah, I don't like so much the tutorials that explain flare directly with a lot of momentum because it's so hard to control.
touch or scrape across the ground as you develop the technique. To start the flare, turn the body 45 to 90 degrees and step back with the left leg. Lunge with the hips low, as if the hips start too high, it will be difficult to stop them from dropping to the floor at the front of the flare.
Exactly. This is also very important. Many people start with their hips too high. They cannot control them anymore. And some people really throw themselves very strong and even jump into a flare. But I would recommend to start with the hips very low to the floor and then make it try to push them high at the end of the round, not at the beginning of the round. Of course, when you can do flares properly, then you can try to be higher from the beginning of the flare. But when you are learning the flare, try to be very, very, very low at first and then get up later.
From the lunge, with your left hand planted, kick the left foot behind the right leg, then kick the right leg to the ear.
He's almost doing a split. Actually, this is not necessary, going so low almost as a split. I think he can lean on the knee maybe, or he can, yeah, he doesn't need to open the legs. So, oh yes, it's raining heavily now at the moment. In this specific moment, it's raining.
You can practice just this portion
About in
first
Hanoi.
to get comfortable with the entry and kicking the right leg high. When you're comfortable with this, do the same thing, but slide the side of the left foot along the ground to the front. You'll have to lean slightly to the left to keep your weight over the hand. Over time, progress to doing this but getting to the straddle V-sit position at the front with your weight centered and right hand making contact with the ground
Yes, exactly. I like that he mentioned about the straddle V
near
sit.
the right hip.
Actually, he's sitting on the floor,
You've completed half of the flare.
but he's lifting up the legs a little bit, which is good. It's also a good method. He's not really stopping in the V sit or in the L sit, but it's still okay because as you can see here, I will
Near the right
do
hip.
it again.
At this point, you've completed.
So he's doing this V shape, then he's swinging the leg, and then he's sitting. This is still good to explain in which part to sit in the flare. Or look at this tricep. His arm is huge. And yeah, so the timing of if you really want to sit in the flare, also like Sambo said, you need to know actually in which part you need to sit, not just on the front randomly, but after swinging the legs like he's doing now. So he's explaining the flare in a little bit a mix between how I explain it by using a L sit or a V sit or a straddle L, how you want to call it, and how Sambo explain it by sitting on the floor. But in my opinion, he do a little bit a better job of explaining the timing of when to sit on the floor.
The flare. The second half is very similar to the first half, but in reverse. From the front, the left leg stays high and kicks toward the left.
Can you still hear me? You should remove the AirPods because they're almost. Can you hear me like this? I think so, right? I hope the audio quality will also be decent enough.
Left ear, and the right leg swoops low close to the
I
ground.
think it's okay.
The weight shifts over to the right hand, and the left hand lifts to clear room for the body. Practice this initially with the right leg sliding on the ground to finish the flare. As you get more proficient,
I
flare.
like about this that he immediately puts, as you can see, both hands on the floor. What Pygmy didn't do in his previous tutorial, he was lifting up one hand and only one arm was on the floor. To learn how to do the flare in a very good way, very symmetrical and to get very high on the back, you need to learn the timing of the hands and you need to learn immediately how to place very quickly the second hand or the fourth hand, 1, 2, 3, the fourth hand on the floor very quickly. Much better audio now. Oh, really? Yeah, footworks were fine for me, but when I tried helping people with footworks a lot, people had issues shifting their weight from one arm to the other. Oh, really? Interesting. It has been stopped. Okay.
As you get more proficient, try to keep the legs off the ground. The left leg kicking toward the ear is what maintains hip height to clear the right leg in the second half of the flare. For those who can flare and want to be able to transition to the handstand or air flare, kicking the left leg harder is what will lift you toward vertical.
Yeah, partially. It's not only about kicking the leg harder, but it's also about the timing of lifting up the hips and also the push of the shoulders. I think because he is very strong, this guy is so strong, and for him the planche is so easy. So I suppose when he do flare to air flare, for example, he doesn't even feel that he's pushing with his shoulders. But for people that are not so strong like him, even me, for example, I'm not so strong like him. When I do flare and then I go up to 90, for example, or to air flare, I really feel like I'm pushing with the shoulder. So he didn't mention about this, about the shoulder, because I suppose for him it comes very naturally since he is so strong. But for people who are not as strong as him, you really need to focus in order to get up from the flare, to push like this, to push the shoulder down and also up uh, in order to lift up your hips. And at the same time, you really need to move your hips up, kind of like when you do press to handstand, and at the same time also the legs. So it's three things. It's not only one thing. It's not just the legs. It's not only just kick your leg strong and then you will get up, but yeah, it's the leg. You should kick the leg strong to get up, but at the same time you should push with both of your shoulders. Many people, like Pygmy, for example, in the previous video, they push almost with one arm only, but actually you're supposed to push, yes, with one arm first, but then the second arm catches and you keep pushing with both arms. So both arms are pushing, the shoulders, not the arms itself, because the arms are not bending, just this is just the shoulder movement. And then third one is the hips, so it's three things at the same time.
At this point, you've got a single flare with your legs sliding across the ground. Practice this with the intention of being light on the feet or keeping them in the air.
By the way, is it really the audio better now than before? I thought with the AirPods would be better, but if you tell me that the audio is better like this, I will not use the AirPods anymore in the next live streams.
Until you can continue to multiple flares. The transition to a second flare involves shifting your weight back to the left hand through a straddle planche or press position, then resuming with the original technique of kicking the right leg high and swooping the left leg low. Even when you've perfected one flare without scraping the feet, it's normal for momentum to peter out and to scrape the feet on later reps. I encourage you to not give up when this happens and try to continue picking up momentum.
Yes, this is very, very useful advice. Many people, when they start their form in the flare, start a little bit get weaker, they immediately stop. But what made my flare good in the past was really try to push and try to continue. So even though my flare starts sucking a lot and start being ugly, I try to push and try to continue doing multiple rounds. And this really made my flare more powerful over time because I learned how to kick very strong. Your voice is much clearer without the AirPods for me. Oh, okay. Thank you for telling me.
This will help you develop the ability to save flares from anywhere and make it easier to learn how to link flares with other moves.
Oh, I see. Nice. Yeah, this at the moment was the best tutorial. Clearly the best tutorial until now. Now I'm gonna react to my own tutorial. I don't know if it's gonna be good or not. Actually, it's not only mine. I did it with Falcro, so. But I'm not sure if it's gonna be good or not. I don't remember even.
I'm Caio. Hi.
So in this, I want to tell you something. When we used to do this kind of tutorials, we wanted to make it kind of like a show, not just instructional video, not just tutorials, but make it a little fun. So we always used to add a little bit of skits or a little bit of a story behind the tutorial. And the goal was to create a show about breaking tutorials. But then we kind of got bored of making this tutorial, so we decided to quit. So I'm gonna still react to the whole video, even though some parts are not gonna be related to the flare probably. I don't remember exactly this specific episode, but we almost want see this tutorial series almost as a web series or almost like a TV show or as a, I don't know, episodic series, you know, with the history evolving over time. Actually, it was a very good idea, I think, but it was a little bit, we wanted to do one episode per week, and it was a little hard because the production took a lot of time.
I'm Rose Punch. I'm Bestia. And this is a breakdance tutorial about
So crazy.
a move called Thomas or Flare. It doesn't matter.
Thank you, Ken. Oh, the intro, I missed this intro. Oh, many people don't know this guy. This guy is Falco. He was always, not always, but most of times he was the one who was filming the video. So he's not a b-boy. He's just our friend. So we were 4 people. 3 of us were b-boys, Bestia, me, and Rose Punch. And then this guy, Falco, was our friend. he know a lot about b-boying actually, because he is our friend since long time, so he know the name of all the moves, but he cannot do breaking. He can do actually some top rock. I made a video with him where I teach him some top rocks, and then he can do maybe a few footworks. He can do something very small, but he never really practiced breaking, but he really likes it, by the way. And he saw a lot of competitions when we used to compete in the past. He came with us to see a lot of competitions, and he knows many famous b-boys, so he's kind of like a fan of breaking, but not really like a practitioner. And he is very passionate about filming and about graphics, so he was in the team to help us filming mainly and doing the graphics sometimes. Yeah, that's it basically. And I started Falcro with him actually. Falcro was not a breaking project at first, but it was a filmmaking project. So we started, me and him, Falco, as a filmmaker duo, and then we expanded a little bit with two more guys, and we made Falcro a little bit more focused on breaking rather than filmmaking only. But this is also one of the reasons why these tutorials were kind of like a show more than just tutorials, because we started as filmmakers, you know. So we wanted to keep these filmmaking aspects also to the tutorials, not just make just instructional video, but we wanted to make them a little bit entertaining. How's Bestia? Bestia is good. He is still doing 3D art. I still talk to him a lot. Good times, good times.
Here I am. I'm Tommy from Slovenia.
Oh, Tommy, I forgot he did the voiceover on this video. I don't know why, just randomly. Sometimes we like to invite other guests to take part in our tutorials just for fun, without any clear reason, just to make it a little bit more various and entertaining.
Too much and he lost his voice, so here I am explaining you the flare. Before doing anything, make sure you warm up and stretch. You should do a lot of exercises for shoulders, legs and wrists. Take time when doing it. You have to feel totally comfortable when doing any stretching position. Remember to take deep breaths. Here you have
so much lore behind the tutorials, yeah. Yeah, here actually we don't mention specifically about the pancake, but we show it here and here. And about the shoulder extension, we didn't show it at all in this tutorial, so this is not good actually. We should show about the shoulder extension. Maybe at that time I didn't even know about the shoulder extension much.
Here you have two exercises to make you improve the height when doing.
Yeah, this is very good. Actually, this can be replaced with the tuck planche. The tuck planche is even better because it's a little bit more similar to the angle of a real flare. This angle is a little bit too high. As you can see, my hips are too high.
Flare.
So the strength produced in this position is only the strength to go from here to here. But in a flare, we want to go from here to here. So the tuck planche is going to be better than this. That's why in my last tutorials, I don't show this exercise anymore, but I show the tuck planche. That is kind of similar. They both require a lot of shoulder strength, but the tuck planche is a little bit more efficient for the flare itself than this exercise. This exercise becomes more efficient only when your flares start getting very high and you want to just improve the last degrees to fully reach a handstand. So when you are a little bit more advanced and you are working towards flare to handstand, this one exercise will be more useful. But if you are a beginner who is just starting with the flare, the tuck planche will be more useful.
Place the arms in front of you to make a handstand. Put your weight slowly to the front and it has to lift you up.
Oh, here I also show the...
Here comes the second exercise. Bend your knees, place your hands in front of you and lift it up. The arm...
Oh, this is a little bit overkill for the flare, so this exercise is a little bit hard. Actually, it's very good. If you can do this, the back part of the flare will be very easy. And probably you will already have a very high flare in the back. But it's not needed at the beginning. So here I show it as a prerequisite exercise, but it's not really a prerequisite. It's a little bit overkill for the flare. So Tuck planche only is enough already. B-boy Sisma, yes.
Are already straight, so you have to push with your shoulders. The V-kick is a good
Oh,
exercise
V-kick.
to improve your shoulder flexibility.
Yes and no. So for the V-kick, now I would not explain it in this way anymore. Oh my gosh, so high jump. It looks almost like I'm doing an air flare here. So V-kick can improve your shoulder flexibility, is true, but the problem is that to do a V-kick, you already need a lot of shoulder flexibility, shoulder extension. So the first step should be working specifically on shoulder extension, and then the V-kick will come later. So the V-kick, in my opinion, is not a prerequisite for the flare, but it's something that you can learn while learning the flare to make the flare even better, you know? So I wouldn't recommend to someone new to learn the V-kick before learning the flare. I would recommend to learn only the L-sit and the shoulder extension, and then while learning the flare, maybe they can work to the V-kick to make the flare more higher in the front part.
The V-kick is a good exercise to improve your shoulder flexibility.
Oh, I forgot about this part. Here, yeah, we wanted to have guests almost in each episode of this tutorial. So here in this episode, I contacted B-Boy Flex from Korea, from Fusion MC crew, and he did this small tutorial. So I think, yeah, most of the tutorials, it will be, the steps are gonna be by him. I don't remember if I also explain it later or no. Let's see. Sorry, I said B-Boy Flex. It's not B-Boy Flex, I'm sorry. What was his name? Oh my god, I forgot his name. Wait. Oh, Pelvis! B-Boy Pelvis, of course. Flex is another B-Boy, sorry. I'm sorry for the mistake. Pelvis.
안녕하세요. 저는
안녕하세요.
한국에 비보이 그룹 퓨전 MC에서 화음으로 맡고 있는 비보이 페비스라고 합니다. 반갑습니다. 자, 이제 플레이어에 대해서 배우실 텐데요. 이제 단계별로 나눠서 알려드리겠습니다. 우선 처음 자세는 다리를 꽤 넓이 2배 정도 벌리시고 손을 정 가운데에 집어주시면 됩니다. 그리고 왼손 기준은 왼다리, 오른손 기준은 오른다리를
Yeah, the placement is good. The hand is to the side. The legs are crossing, which is very good.
보내주고 이때 골반이 다리만 나가는 게 아니라 골반도 같이 왼다리가 나가고 오른손을 빨리 집어줍니다. 빨리 집어주고 V자가 오면은
He is very flexible.
들어올 때 왼다리를 왼쪽 귀 쪽으로 왼다리를 왼쪽 귀 쪽으로 당기면서
Oh, so flexible.
당기면서 들어오면 골반이 뜨는데 이때도 손을
In his legs. I'm not sure how flexible he is on his shoulders extension, but on his pancake he's very flexible. So yeah, the way he explained the flare is very basic actually, the very basic step, but it lacks a little bit of the front part, how to get the transfer of the body weight in the front part and also in the back part, and also how to continue the rounds. So very quick, very quick. Let me see if I'm gonna explain more later.
중요한 팁을 알려드리자면 제 생각에는
Ah, I'm still explaining, okay. Timing.
앞에서 들어올 때 왼다리를 뒤쪽으로 당겨주고 오른다리 빨리 당기면 이거와 손은 빨리 집어주는
Yes,
이 두 개가
this is good.
중요한 것 같습니다.
Oh, this is me again. Wait a second, guys. I'm gonna go to the bathroom very quickly and I'm gonna come back. Sorry, guys. I am back. Is it everything working? Let me check very quickly. Yo, yo, yo. Okay. I think everything is working. So let's move on. This is me.
The first leg starts to push in the clockwise direction. When reaching the second one, it makes you push up.
Another thing I would like to see a little more from other tutorials that I show here is to not kick the first leg up in the air.
In the
As I show
clockwise
here, it's sliding.
direction. When reaching the
So don't kick it like this up in the air. Only kick it like this up in the air when you are more advanced and if you're already trying to get the flare higher. But when you're just starting, slide your foot on the floor. It's much easier.
one, it makes you push up with your hip. When kicking up and getting off the floor,
A girl was hanging around in your room. Whew.
you have
Oh
to
my God.
lift up your leg and push it to your face. At the second part of the round, it goes the same for the other leg. You lift it up and push it to your face.
Yeah, also here I'm not really explaining the transition from the first part of the slide to the second part of the slide, which is the back slide. So first, when we are starting the flare, we're gonna do a front slide, and then we need to have a leg transition, a weight transition, and then there is the back slide. And in these first tutorials that I made, I didn't really explain that. But then I noticed that many people struggle with this part. This is one of the hardest part in the flare, the front part. And so I found my way to explain it by using the L-sit or by using some other methods. Maybe you've seen how I explain in my new tutorials.
The legs are always widely opened. Don't let the hips stay close to your hands.
Random
When doing
animation.
the flare, you have to straighten your arms. When trying to get the height, you have to help yourself out with shoulders, not only with your arms. Don't
Yeah,
get
this is also something that many people don't mention about pushing the head between the arms. It helps you getting higher on the back, and also pressing the shoulders down. Yeah.
me wrong. It's shoulders, not showgirls. From the basic footwork move called the helicopter.
Oh, this is a very cool drill, starting from the helicopter or coffee grinder or one step to jump and then to try to get high, almost as if you're doing a flare.
Try to
It's
kick
very
up-
hard actually.
up
It's
and
not
get
easy.
your body higher.
This is also something many tutorials neglect about the hips movement. Many people focus only about the legs, how to swing and how to kick the legs, but also very important part of the flare are the hips, how to move the hips all around. It's very simple how to do it, but at least showing it one time, I think it should be done in each tutorial.
The common
Like this.
mistakes that people usually do are: the kicking leg at the start must be low. Do not kick it high. You have to start low and then become high in the middle of the round. Do not close your legs on the back side. Keep them widely open through the whole round. Remember to kick high with both legs during the rotation. Make sure that the body weight is well disposed to both of your arms. After having done at least hundreds of
Switch the
flares,
content after this. What would you like me to react to? If you have any
you can
recommendation,
take a break, go on
let me
Facebook
know.
and follow me on my Facebook fan page.
Okay, actually this tutorial was not bad. Even though it's so old, I like it more than some other tutorials that I've seen. Just because it shows very quickly the hips movement and how to push the head between the arms here. And also about the V-kick, it can be useful, but later on, not immediately. Still not the best tutorial. The best one at the moment that I show until now is the one from Simonster. And yeah, I think the best tutorial of the flare is this one here that I made 1 year ago. This is the most complete. It's 20 minutes long, it's longer. But in this tutorial, I think, it automatically translates to Italian, but actually I wrote the title in English. So yeah, this is the most also underrated. It doesn't have so many views, only 37K, and I uploaded on February last year, 2025. but it's still very good. And I explained the flare here with two different methods. One more relying on the strength with the L-sit and the tac planche. One more relying just on the coordination. And so I want to react to. Oh, I saved this video. It's a vlog. I want to change the topic completely. Oh, what is this? It's still gonna be breaking actually. It's still gonna be breaking, but it's gonna be a vlog about a b-boy I know here from Ho Chi Minh. His name is B4. This vlog is very long. It's 47 minutes, so I'm not gonna watch probably all of it, but I'm gonna skip some parts and watch only the highlights. Oh, blur my face. I'm sorry. Maybe the camera died. Thank you for letting me know. Oh my god, why you see my face like this? I think it's not working. Wait a second, guys. I need to fix this. Oh, what the hell? Something is wrong. Also, my Mac camera is not working properly. Guys, I don't know what's happening, actually. I am trying to... Device, Face ID, camera. Oh, okay. Okay, now I think you can see me, right? I'm gonna make this window smaller a little bit. Is it okay like this? Okay, it must work. Let me charge this phone a little bit. Okay, good. So yeah, let's change topic a little bit. I will react to one vlog about this new friend that I got before from Ho Chi Minh. He's very strong b-boy from Vietnam, and he traveled to Japan and he made a vlog. I still didn't see it yet, so I'm curious to see. Japan. But I will skip some parts probably. Oh, I like the video quality, by the way. June 2026, Kyoto, Osaka, and Tokyo. Oh, what was this? I still don't know how the alerts work. Sometimes I hear some sound, but I don't know what is this. First day arriving in Japan. He went to some battles, I think. I'm not sure. About your question, Country Mouse, I am not sure if it's a issue, what you're saying. I should see visually. It's a little bit hard to understand what you mean exactly. I should see how it looks like, and then I can tell you. By an asymmetrical form, I'm not sure also what you mean. Maybe if you have a video, you can send me on my Instagram, Caio Falcro. and then I will check your clip quickly. Time to replace your device. Yeah, I don't have much equipment actually for live streaming. I'm just starting. If the live stream will go well and I will start earning some money with the live stream, I will reinvest this money to have better equipment for live streaming. At the moment, I'm just using. Actually, now I'm using the camera from my laptop, which is not good. The quality is pretty bad. Before, I was using my phone to film myself, but my phone battery died, so now I'm using this face cam. But yeah. Oh yeah, thank you, send me a clip.
Day 2.
Yeah, this is before.
Tiếng Việt. Xin chào buổi sáng. Đây là ngày thứ hai ở Nhật Bản và bây giờ tụi mình sẽ
Oh,
đi
he's
ăn
gonna
sáng.
speak Vietnamese? Oh my god, I'm not gonna be able to understand.
Tôi sẽ đi ăn sáng. Đi ăn sáng.
There are no subtitles.
Với before. Xin chào. Xin chào team member. No.
This is the boy Conan from Korea.
Xin chào is hello. Hello, tôi là Conan. Xin chào. Tôi là Conan. Tôi là Conan, xin chào.
Yeah, let me skip a little bit. Let's go to the action.
Là B-boy.
Here they're just chilling, having breakfast, I think. Here they're at some events. Oh, maybe he's gonna show his round here. This is it. Let's see his round. I really like his style. He's very free, very light in his movements. Ooh, very nice flare. I really like his flare. Nice. These are the selections? I don't know. I guess so. Nice. Very clean execution. I really hope he will get more known around the world because I think he really deserves it. Oh, this is Conan, the guy from Korea. Is it before? No, who is this guy? It's Conan again. Oh, they are battling also. Sakist. This guy is so strong. So long that I don't see this guy. He's also from Korea, if I'm not wrong. And then this girl is from Japan. What's her name? Hio, right? I guess so. Nice. She participated to the event that I just reacted a few days ago. The Legit Blast. Did she win? The bigger battle? I forgot.
Alright, undefeated is over. It's over. We made it to top 4.
What are they eating here? Ooh, Japanese food. I miss the real Japanese food.
The name of the food. Yep.
Oh, this is Okat, a train station in Osaka. It's a very famous spot for the b-boys to practice. They go there every evening from around 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. until 10 sometimes, 9, 10 p.m. sometimes. You can always find someone every day, or if there are no b-boys, you can find sometimes just hip-hop dancers or other styles of dancing, but it's always available. The only problem is the temperature. Sometimes in winter it can be colder, or maybe it can be too hot in the summer. But it's so nice spot and so famous spot. A lot of Japanese b-boys practice at least one time there. Even in the old Mortal Kombat crew videos, you can see this location. I mean that location, the previous location. Let me skip a little bit.
Và mình cái đạo Shinkansen nên mình đi Sài Gòn nó đi rất là nhanh và sẽ mất tầm khoảng 3 tiếng để đi từ đây lên back to Tokyo and then stay with you.
Ooh, he's practicing with Nori. Nori also very strong b-boy from Japan. He won the selections to get to the Red Bull BC1 so many times, and he got to the finals multiple times, but then he never won the finals. He was always like almost there, almost there. My favorite flare tutorials were your YouTube shorts one, P, Chen, Teddy's, and Lil G. Oh, thank you by the way. Lil G is too simple in my opinion. Maybe for some people it's still enough, but it's totally not complete for some other people. Pygmies were entertaining but didn't necessarily help. Oh, I see. Ooh, cool. Very light. Nice transition. Nice. Yeah. Let's skip a little more. The 6 room. What are they doing? I like the way he shot the video. And so the camera he used, it looks very professional. Nice. Hi Kaio, at the start of my flare, should I immediately open my legs as soon as I swing, or should I wait a bit? You should immediately open your legs, but they can also be bent. Many people recommend immediately to straighten the leg, but in my case I recommend to bend the legs a little bit to have more control, because the smaller the movement is, the easier to control it is. If you immediately keep your legs completely straight and extended, then it's gonna be very hard to control. So open your legs immediately, yes, but open but bent, it's also okay. Or strength, depending on how much control you have. So let me skip a little more. What is going on? Oh, he's with Kaku. Big boy Kaku.
Practice until AM, 2 a.m.
This guy's a OG power mover. He's crazy with shoulder elos, head spin to 2000. Practice session again. Oh, let me see Kaku. What did you do? Now he's a little old. I don't know how old is he. I've been practicing flares for 7 weeks with sliding my feet on the floor, and I want to take it to the next level. It really depends. Can you do multiple rounds already, or are you still working on only one or few rounds at the moment? If you can do multiple rounds, by multiple rounds I mean more than 5 or even 10, then the next goal should be to improve the quality and to try to do flares inside many different combos. But if the flare is still at 1 round, 2 rounds, don't improve the quality yet. Try to make more. Try to do more rounds. I wonder if Kaku haven't done flares in battle. I'm not sure. I've seen him doing flares in training. His flare is not that great. He doesn't practice flare, that's why. But in battles, I don't know. I don't think so. I just sent 2 clips of my flares to your Instagram, brother. Thank you so much for your advice. Okay. After the live stream, I'm gonna check. Ooh, flare on the wrist. Oh. Crazy. Okay, I think the vlog is over. He will just talk here, but he's speaking Vietnamese, so I cannot really understand. That's it. Okay, guys, so I think the live stream will be over now. I want to try also to live stream other things completely unrelated to breaking, but I'm a little bit afraid on this channel people will not care. So I think I'm gonna do like this. I will interrupt the live stream on YouTube, but I will keep streaming on Kick and on Twitch. You can find me on Kick or on Twitch on Caio Falcro, same name as I have on YouTube and on Instagram. And I will keep live streaming, but completely unrelated to breaking. I wanted to play Pokemon games, or I also wanted to react to completely different videos, or maybe to play some other games that I can play with this small little laptop. I don't have a gaming console at the moment, so I cannot play big games at the moment. But yeah, I want to try something completely different. But I know that here on this channel, most of people mainly follow me for tutorials and for breaking. So I think maybe it will be annoying if I do live stream completely different here on the channel. But I don't know, if you would enjoy it, I can also do it on the channel. But at the moment, I will just switch to the other platforms and let me know in the comments what you think. Yeah, those wrist moves look so risky. I think they can be. Yeah, that would be good. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna stop the stream here on YouTube, and I'm just gonna keep streaming on Kick and Twitch. So if you wanna keep following the stream, just go on one of these 2 platforms, the one you prefer. Doesn't matter because the live stream is gonna be the same. Both Kick and Twitch are just live stream platforms if you don't know. Kick.com, is it kick.com? Yeah, or twitch.com. No, twitch.tv, sorry. And yeah, let me know also in the comments if you would like to see streams completely different than breaking, or if you prefer me to keep things separately in different platforms. I can do both things actually. For me, I don't really care, but it's up to you guys. And yeah, otherwise see you tomorrow probably, or in the next days, or whenever. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching. How to stop the stream here on YouTube only here. Yes. Peace. See you maybe on Kick or on Twitch. Kayo Falkro. Okay, I think on YouTube I stopped the live stream. Let me check just to be sure. On my YouTube channel. Here I'm still live. Okay, I think on YouTube I stopped the live stream. Let me check. Oh no, you're still live. What the hell? Why still live? It's still live, right, guys? If I'm still live, can you comment? Some one of you, can you still comment? I think I'm still live. What the hell? What the hell? Why still live? Yeah, I'm still live. So I need to stop from here. I'm afraid I will stop also on the other platforms. I don't know. Let's try.